What's up guys, welcome to another video. Today let's talk about an exercise that I like to do with my horses. It has a way of fixing a lot of my problems. It's something that I promise that if you try this out right now, it's going to really improve a lot of stuff around what you're doing, no matter what is your primary discipline. So if you're ready, let's get after it. Okay, so the exercise in question involves speed, okay? And I think that it's very important for a horse to be confident running fast, okay? No matter what you're doing, whether you're doing barrel or you're doing cow horse or you're doing reining or you're doing roping, whatever it is, at some point in time, you've got to build that confidence to really go fast. And what I mean by confidence, and that if like once you do this exercise here that I'm talking about, you will see a dramatic change from when you start doing the exercise until you finish, okay? And then you will really understand what the benefits of this exercise truly are. So this exercise involves you turning the corner and doing rectangles around your arena, just like we do when we're working on our rundowns, and that's exactly what we're doing here, okay? So, but it's also working on the maneuver, because approaching the maneuver is going to define how the horse executes that maneuver, okay? So here what I like to do is doing rectangles where I turn the corner, and I like to build gears, and I'll go as fast as I can depending on what the level of my horse is, and then somewhere towards the last quarter, the last third of the arena, I'm going to relax myself, assume the position of the diagonal, which means my inside leg is going to be a little bit more in front of my outside leg. I'm going to apply a little bit of outside leg in order to channel that energy from that outside hind leg through that front, through that inside front, and really push my horse through its diagonal. And I'm gonna pull him towards me to make sure that I can really squeeze all that energy through that diagonal. So the goal is that I want to be able to run as fast as I can, and when I get to the end, I want to be able to close my fingers on my reins, sit in my pocket and assume my riding position, and have my horse come back from whatever speed I was going, whether it's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, or more, depending on the size of the pen that you're working out of, which is gonna, you know, the more space you have, the better, definitely. But you want to be able to go from high speed to that first nice, you know, engaged first gear within 2 or 3 strides, and you want to do this where the horse does it very smooth. And the only way for a horse to do that very smooth is if he's really approaching it well, and if he's going to really channel his energy through that diagonal when you ask him to come back to that first gear, okay? So that's a lot easier said than done. Very often when and every horse is different, okay? So in the last couple days, we've recorded some segments for real-time training on the Comfort Zone horse training video series. So if you are subscribed to that, you're gonna enjoy those segments coming in. And I'm gonna keep doing it because it's so different with every horse that I have in the barn, but has the same benefit. It just gives us something different to talk about with every single horse, because some of the horses are lazy, so they don't like to get down there. It's kind of hard, and so you really feel the benefit of them really freeing up and running a little bit more on their own, you know, without you having to push them all the way. The more that you repeat this exercise, or the ones that are scared, the ones that once you ask them to go, they brace, they get stiff, and they get ahead of you, or they drop their shoulder, or whatever the problem is that your horse have when you ask him to go fast. This is how you make it better. And I always explain very often that I work with, you know, in a point A to point B type of, that I have a point A to point B type of philosophy into my program, meaning that if I want my horse to approach point B, you know, in a good position, then whatever I do at point B is what's going to really define how he approaches that, okay? So whether point B is a lead change, or whether or whatever type of maneuver that it is, what you do after is how it's going to be defined. And a lot of the times people tend to reprimand the horse for how he approached the rundown, or how he ran down to the other end by doing something that is stressful. And so the goal of this exercise is just to relax them, so and to get rid of any brace by really making it very clear how they need to use their body approaching something at high speed, okay? So for that, you do have to have decent control of their hip with your outside leg, and control over their shoulders, and being able to soften up their neck when you take a hold of their face, okay? So if you have a horse that just walking, trotting, or loping around is pushing in your hand, and when you put your leg, he's he's kicking at your leg or pushing against your leg and not moving away from it, then you're missing some basics you're going to want to work on in order to prepare yourself for this exercise. But if you have a horse that maybe doesn't have a negative reaction to your outside leg or to your hands, then and you're able to push him in the bridle and soften up his neck and get his body into a comfortable position fairly easy at the lope, then I would say that you're ready to increase speed and teach him to free up by building your gears 1, 2, and just progressively increase that speed, and then in the end slowly pull them and pull them back into that first gear and see what their reaction is, and even if you don't have the tools to really make this exercise very effective right away, to where you can run 3rd, 4th gear and you have a horse really like driving his hip under himself and really reaching under the girth with its hind end, lifting its shoulder and really being soft in the face, channeling its energy through its diagonal perfectly, off the bat, it'll really give you a good idea what it is that you need to work on right now in order to get there. And then I promise you that when you get there, you will feel this really improve everything else around it, whether it's your lead changes, even your slow lope is going to be a little bit more extended, softer, smoother, because you've got a horse that's really channeling his energy through his diagonal. And too often we're afraid to go fast because we don't have their body in a perfect position, and so we're working their face, working their shoulder, working the hip, and we're doing all of these mechanics, and even though that I repeat this very often, even though I always tell you need to have a destination in mind, work as if you're chasing something, always ride as if you're chasing something, or you're about to ask your horse a lead change or something, to make sure that you're always driving from behind, doing that and really adding speed and running fast towards the other end of the arena while working that is really going to have a lot of benefit and everything else around it, no matter what discipline you do. And so anyways, we've done this with 2 different horses in the past days. So one of them is Mike. So if you follow my videos, you're familiar with Mike. Mike's a 6-year-old horse, and it's a horse that has been he is very well broke, and he's very well broke to the rein. He was ridden mostly in a Romal. I just don't feel that he's broken the body and works through his diagonals the way that I like my horses to. And so a lot of the problems that I have in the show pen or preparing him to show are all revolving around turning the corner and going straight and having him really approach the stop, because he's a humongous stopper. It's like the easiest thing for him to do, but he just approaches it kind of resilient. He doesn't really approaches it with the intention of, I don't feel him like chase that as if he's really after it and with his shoulders up and really driving under himself. I just don't feel he channels his energy very well, and I feel he's kind of sucked back a little bit in the run. So doing this with him has opened up so many doors and has made him so much better. And then the other horse that I've done it with is Ruffin. It's a 3-year-old that I've got, and this horse is like a very, very big, stout, solid, strong horse, and he's very physical. It's got a lot of maneuvers, but he doesn't have that natural stride that a lot of the horses that I have in the barn have, and so a lot of it has to be mechanically trained into this horse. But once I've started to do that, I was able to do that, and I was doing similar things through all of the drills that I like to explain and I like to do, like the dog bone and all of these exercises, which all involve working the same thing. Now that we can finally, the rain has let out, and we can finally get on the outdoor track, and we have 150 by 300 feet of space to really hit another gear that I can't hit in the arena, and all of the time to really bring him back, into a slow lope. And help him really do that well. Well, after a week of doing that outside, it's like I have a new horse in the arena, and it's just a very, very dramatic improvement, and it's really helped him find that stride that is quite unnatural for him. And so and I've had other horses that are new to the program that I don't really have control over their hip and their shoulders, that are not so great through their diagonals. Well, these horses, when I asked them to speed up and I asked them to slow down the first time, they just they switched lead and pushed left and pushed right and braced, and the neck got stiff and the shoulders got stiff, and that just really tells me that, okay, well, this is where I'm at, but now I need to get to work on this, because the sooner that I can do this as good as I can with my horses that are more advanced, then the more progress I will be making around everything else with these horses. So when you can and you have the space for it, or find the space for it. Make this exercise a priority. I promise that you're going to see a lot of change and a lot of positive change. I want to do a challenge with you guys. I want you guys to video yourself. Have somebody film you, or find a way to video yourself doing this at home from the first time you try it until you've done it a few times, so that you can yourself see the benefits of it, and so that you can share that with us, so that we can discuss all of the different reactions we get from different horses, and then we can talk about how we deal with this type of horse. So anyways, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like if you found any value in it, and if you're not subscribed to the Comfort Zone Horse Training video series, I suggest you check it out, because we're going to be putting a segment of this exercise on the real-time training section of the program, and we're going to be doing it with all of the horses that I've got in the barn, so that we can approach this, you know, from all angles, and really break it down to where hopefully all of you will relate to this at some point. So anyways, until the next one, cheers.